Parliamentarians make second round of declarations. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report, I'm Leslie Ann Johnson Cornwall. Parliamentarians in Grenada have made a second round of declarations as the Office of the Integrity Commission deepens implementation of the Asset Declaration System. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell was the first parliamentarian to file his declaration, followed on subsequent days by Deputy Prime Minister the Honourable Elvin Nimrod and other ministers of government and serving senators, including leader of the main opposition party, Senator V. Nazim Burke. Ahead of receiving declarations of parliamentarians, a team from the Commission met with the President of the Senate, Chester Humphrey, Speaker of the House, Michael Pierre, and Clerk of Parliament, Willan Thompson, to apprise them of the process for parliamentarians' filings. Section 28(2) of the Integrity in Public Life Act No. 24 of 2013 requires persons in public life to make financial disclosure by filing a declaration of their assets, liabilities, and income as at December 31, 2016. Section 28(4) of the Act provides that in the event a person in public life fails to file a declaration without reasonable cause, the Commission shall publish such fact in the Gazette and at least one weekly newspaper in circulation in Grenada. Thereafter, the Commission may at any time after the publication make an application to the court for an order directing the person in public life to comply with the provisions of the Act. Grenada has restated its commitment to the oneChina policy while assuring the new resident ambassador, Dr. Zhao Yongchen, that this country stands ready to continue working with China. That commitment from Honourable Gregory Bowen in his capacity as acting Prime Minister during a welcome ceremony for the new ambassador on Friday. Grenada and China re-established diplomatic relations in 2005, and Mr. Bowen says their strengthening relationship relies on mutual regard and respect for the political, cultural, and developmental interests of both countries.
This cooperation between our countries has transcended projects. Our people-to-people interaction is at an all-time high. And we thank Ambassador Zhao and the People's Republic of China for also holding this people's relationship as the highest form of cooperation. Mention must be made of the number of Grenadians that have been afforded the opportunity to pursue undergraduate and postgraduate studies in China through the Chinese government's scholarship program, as well as the hundreds of Grenadians who have participated in short-term training.
Ambassador Zhao says the reception he has received demonstrates the special relationship shared between both countries. He is pleased with the growth of bilateral relations between Grenada and China since diplomatic relations were established.
We are confident that by working together, we can certainly build what has been achieved and further deepen the bilateral relationship. The future of the Sino-Grenadian relationship will be brighter.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then suddenly saw we hear bang, crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
Grenada is set to get world recognition when a team of secondary students travels to Washington, D.C. to participate in the annual First Global Robotics Challenge. The competition will be held from July 16 to 18. Details from Rikisha St. Louis.
The annual challenge is staged to ignite a passion for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics among the more than 2 billion youth across the world. The not-for-profit public charity provides a framework for an Olympic-style robotics challenge where one team from every nation is invited to participate in a global robotics event. On Friday, a short demonstration was held at TAMCC for ministry officials. Grenada's team created a robot that sorts balls. Minister for Communications, Works, ICT and Community Development Honorable Gregory Bowen says Grenada is in safe hands as it takes ICT to the next level. He expressed satisfaction in the pride the students took in compiling and creating the robot.
We must not limit it to only the few in TAMCC on the school. It must permeate throughout the secondary schools, eventually down to the primary schools. You know, there are schools, countries that start at 3 and 4. The ICT program, and we're looking at the models, and it will soon be adopted in our 2030 plan. Even before this, I know that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of ICT, we are working together. You see where we're moving to health, and we want to get your one information card from birth to death, and everything, you know, would be there in an electronic manner, which is the basis behind robotics. We will move into ensuring that these young people in the next 4, not so many, maybe 2 or 3 years, will be the cornerstone for teaching here and for moving through the secondary schools.
Nathan Best and Kirona Maureen are a part of the 6-member team traveling to the US. They speak of the expectations for the competition and the preparatory stages.
This competition gives me a very exciting feeling. It is the first time Grenada is participating in such a competition, so it's very elating for me to be a pioneer in terms of robotics in Grenada. This competition gives me the feeling that we as a country will be able to do better and being able to help the young people that would follow after our team and extend our knowledge in the robotics field as a country.
Preparation at first was difficult to say because getting new equipment and learning new programs can tend to be tricky. So on the evenings when we went home, we had to research different components and different aspects to getting the robot together. But coming along the journey, everything seems to be falling in place and going great so far.
We wish Team Grenada all the best for the international competition come July. For the National Report, I am Rakisha St. Louis.
A panel discussion which focused on reporting on child issues is a highlight of the just concluded annual Media Week of activities under a new executive. It was observed under the theme Critical Minds for Critical Times, the media's role in advancing peaceful, just and inclusive societies. The panelists were Mrs. Shirley Ann O'Neill from the Child Protection Authority and Ms. Jacinta Alexis, Gender Analyst in the Ministry of Social Development. They focused on the need for discretion, the need to avoid sensationalism, what to include and what should be omitted when writing and reporting stories surrounding social issues.
Our culture, we want instant gratification, so therefore we want stories that we could just think and make snap decisions without proper information. So that's the other theory that we would work with. So in looking at those theories, we see they have both relevance and some biases that speaks to how we operate within the media. So in terms of the social issues, when we are approaching social issues and covering social issues, we would like to see a social protection perspective taken or human rights perspective taken.
There are times when something may happen and we may report as we see, not taking into consideration that based on what we report or how we report it, it may cause further trauma to that child. So we're saying that we should think about the implications when we're reporting.
MWAC's President Kern Mason pledged to organize similar seminars for media workers so that their scope of writing and reporting can improve.
Over the years, we have had a lot of cases in terms of minors in the news over social media and stuff. So it's important that media workers, they get to understand and realize that the role that they play is a very important one. And if certain stuff is portrayed in the media because of probably being sensational, then there's a problem going forward, because if your main aim is to bring out a story without even getting all the information in terms of why, who, where, and what, then your story will be very uncredible. So it's important that media workers, they get to go through these sessions on a regular basis.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson Cornwall.